All right, thank you for staying with us. You're watching Daybreak on Trust TV. Time for us to take a look at some other issues. Well, not totally different from what we've touched on earlier. We have Nuruddin Abdullah, editor 21st Century Chronicle, with us in the studio, as well as Stephen Okori, to talk about some of the results that we have seen so far announced by INEC and what their take is really as regards some of the offsets that we've seen. Thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak this morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Iman.
Yeah.
Good morning, Stella.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Yes. Well, if I will start with you, Nuruddin, are you surprised at some of the outcomes that we're already seeing as far as these elections are concerned?
Yeah, a lot of surprises, not even surprise, because for the first time, you know, even at the presidential level, you understand, there are a lot of surprises, particularly with the way the ruling party lost Kano, for instance. Buhari became president in 2015 because of Kano's 2 million votes. You remember? Ruling party lost Kaduna. The president lost his state of Katsina to the opposition. The ruling party lost Sokoto, lost Kebbi, and so on and so forth. That's one side. And secondly, look at the national parliament now. I think maybe for the first time we'll have a multi-party parliament. By June 2019, when President Buhari inaugurated the parliament, the national parliament, I tell the Senate, there was only one. It was PDP, APC, only one YPP. If I get it correct, Senator Ifeanyi Uba.
From Anambra State, I remember.
Only one non-PDP, non-APC member. But look at it today. From Nasarawa alone, we have 2 SDP senators. Maybe a couple or even a score of other LP lawmakers from the Saudis, and even some part of the country. So generally speaking, and we hope to see more smaller parties be represented, particularly at the national level. So it's nothing much serious, even though Erufai lost the state. Even the ruling party's flag bearer lost Lagos to Labour of all political parties, not the PDP. He lost it to Obi. So a lot of surprises and what have you.
So, Mr. Okori, why do you think Nigerians voted the way they did this time around?
Yeah, thank you for having me once again. I think this time around, the voters have decided that they will go for individuals rather than the political parties that people are driving on. They decided to look at individuals. For instance, from what Nuruddin said, in Nasarawa State, you have 2 SDP winners from there, and a whole lot from other states. Even Labour Party have some senators that have won, you know. So people are looking at individuals now. So it goes to show that it's a good direction in our current development, electoral development, where you can go for a political party that is not known or is not the governor of the state, excuse me, does not belong to that political party. And you have assurance and confidence that you can win your elections depending on how far you went with your electoral campaigns and all that. For instance, in the Lagos that we're talking about that Peter Obi won, the 3 senators from there were won under the APC. So it goes to show that people that came out to vote, they were being selective. I'll vote for Peter Obi for president, but I'll vote for Mr. A or B under the APC. So that is what has played out. And I think if you ask me, I will tell you that I like the direction that the thing is going. You know, it's a development that I feel we should keep at it. But unfortunately, he's talking about the Senate here. If these people come into the Senate and they swear them in, at the end of the day, if the party at the center now, if it's either APC or PDP, these same people that came under these various political parties that we are applauding today, you will see them defecting.
Don't you think we've moved past that? Don't you think that they may stick to
the Nigerian citizens that we're talking about here?
But you know,
they will hold them.
But you know that we have seen a seeming consequence for such a behavior.
Yes.
Going by the fact that how we've seen some of the politicians that have defected losing their seats.
Which of them?
As a result of this.
Which of them lost seats? They were in the court
we
until
have
they
the
finished
governor
their
of the
tenure.
Cross River State who came in as governor under the PDP, defected, and now he lost his quest for the Senate.
He lost his quest for the Senate, but I am talking about the Senate and Reps members now. At the event they are sworn in, the party at the center will want to hold them, give them assurance that if they come into their party, they will give them some juicy committees to chair and all that. There's the way they do it. They lobby them. And at the end of the day, instead of remaining in the political party that has brought them to see how to strengthen that party, you see them defecting to either PDP or APC.
Nuruddin, do you think that there's some kind of protest? Maybe does this voting pattern have some elements of protest in it?
Yes, and there are fundamentally three factors responsible for this. Take Kaduna and Kano, for instance. For the first time, the machinery being used by serving governors to muzzle, to manipulate the entire voting process this time around was not effective. One, cash crunch, the Buhari's MFLS cash crunch, it worked wonders. And secondly, the professionalism of the security agencies. In Kano, for instance, and maybe some major parts of the north, the desperate politician resorted to sharing wrappers, 2 packs of noodles or spaghetti, because there was no money. Therefore, in Kaduna, for instance, where I voted, I've been observing election there in the last couple of maybe 3 or 4 elections. You will see talks on election day, but I didn't see them this time around. Moving from one polling unit to the other, because there was no money. They need money to buy whatever, and even if you transfer money to them, there is nowhere to cash it. So that seriously affected. I was discussing with a neighbor. He said, yes, my neighbor here. He said, yeah, in his area, he observed that trend. And fundamentally, the president, this time around, decided to be a statesman, not a party man. Yeah, the APC people are not happy. But like I said here, there is nothing wrong for the president to say, okay, I'm going to ensure a free and fair vote. And that is why these smaller parties are defeating people who have been at the National Assembly for 16, some 24 years. What we saw yesterday was there are very few, look at the police, for instance. They are very professional.
But that cannot be said of other parts of the country. So I'll throw this to Stephen Okorie. In some other parts of the country, we saw what seemed like voter intimidation and suppression.
Yeah.
Certain videos on social media that went round and went viral. We heard comments by some supporters of political parties intimidating others, saying clearly, right in the presence of police officers, that if you are not voting for a particular party,
don't come.
Leave this place. How come we are seeing a difference in the behavior of some of the police officers in some instances? Let me let him chip in before you comment.
Okay, now I want to say that for the security agencies during this last Saturday elections, I want to give it to them. They were professional about how they went about ensuring that lives were protected and property as well. But they failed in some areas, if you ask me, just the way you said. In a situation where in the polling unit, somebody is intimidating voters and threatening them You know, and from the video we saw on the social media, nothing was done. We just saw a law enforcement officer just standing and looking at what the person was doing. Unfortunately, you will not take out electoral violence completely from this last election. For instance, yesterday in Edo, Benin, the governor paid condolence visit to 2 families that were hit by bullets that political thugs came to attack polling units. A young boy of about 33 years traveled all the way from Port Harcourt to Benin to perform his civic responsibility and was killed, you know. And a woman Elizabeth, was killed in a polling unit in the same Benin, died and left 3 children, you know. An INEC official also was killed in Delta, you know. So all these things are things that can be avoided if they had done what they needed to do. But by and large, I would say that the election was relatively peaceful, considering the number of polling units that elections were conducted on Saturday. And then looking at pockets of incidents that happened. But if you meet such families now, they are in agony, you know, they are in pains, you know. So if you ask them, they will tell you that there was violence during the elections, you know. But other people will say that there wasn't much violence. But the fact of the matter is that the state INEC and law enforcement, they had 4 years to prepare towards this election. So one would expect that all the relevant measures would have been put in place to see that intimidations and all that are abated.
But Nuruddin, as much as I know you're going to take off from there, but I would like you to put it side by side the last election, 2019, when you're talking about this. Would you, because I mean, there's been lots of complaints here and there, and as well as commendation in some quarters as well. But in your view, generally, how would you rate the election?
Like I said, you know, maybe after June 12th, this is one of the most credible and fair elections. I have covered 2019 elections, I have covered 2015, I have covered 2011, and I'm talking from that perspective. We almost lynched in 2011 when the results started coming, remember. As I'm talking to you now, there is no part of Nigeria that is under 247 curfew. To show you that the election is peaceful. And people were comfortable with the result that is trickling in. It can be perfect, yes.
But if you say people are comfortable with what is coming in, we've seen the contestation yesterday when the results are being collated at the National Collation Center, where the leading opposition and other opposition parties walk out of the meeting saying that they cannot accept this because INEC seemed to have reneged on its promise to make sure that the results are uploaded on the viewing portal directly from the polling unit. So for them, the credibility is dented.
No, you can't throw the baby with the bathwater. Don't forget, Dino Melai staged the Orubebe scene, but it wasn't as colorful as what Orubebe did in 2015. You remember. He staged a walkout. At the end of the day, almost all other political parties returned. People must cry for one way or the other. But the generality of the perception of Nigerians, and you know, it is inability or refusal, to use that word, of INEC to upload the results into the portal does not invalidate the fact that the election was peaceful and credible. This is just one process out of 10. So you can't just throw the baby with the bathwater. And more importantly, look at the explanation by INEC chairman yesterday. He was saying Dino was relying on a result that was in circulation 5 days to the election. And you remember, a particular political party was said to be winning by Sunday morning. Personally, and from the election violence we have experienced 2019, 2015, 2011, and even 2007. You understand? What they did, I think maybe from their own point of view, was normal.
Okay. We've heard reports about delay in the commencement of the process. Observers have raised issues about logistical issues. According to one of the civil society groups that is observing the poll, it rated the early resumption to duty by 26%. So only 26% of polling units started their voting as early as expected. So what would you say about the logistical arrangements and how it affected the polls in some areas? Because, for instance, in certain areas, results are still being collated, even as we speak. So, and this is the third day after the conduct of the election. We've seen voting spill over into the next day in some instances. Sometimes, even in the middle of the night, voting took place and all that. What would you say about these areas of irregularities?
I think it's still an improvement from what we had in the past. It's a problem that, particularly with the security situation, there are states, like let's take Niger for instance. There are states on the dime minute, the ad hoc staff say, no, I'm not doing. They don't want to go to Mashegu, they don't want to go to Shiroro, they don't want to, because all these places are bandit enclaves. You understand? And some funding, this cash crunch to a certain extent affected some of the, but overall, maybe if this is something that INEC has to consider, but we can't say INEC should have a transport and logistics department that will be delivering this thing nationwide. It will guzzle funds, you understand? They have to rely on third party. And the issue has even brought a serious matter in Lagos, where a partisan was the one to organize the drivers and whatever, and some other political parties. So these are issues that with time, and even the voting, when you compare to 2019 or 2015, there is a serious improvement. In Kaduna, for instance, where I observed, in 2019, we did not start until around 2. But this time around, when we got there, the people were there.
Yeah, but significant number of polling units also started as late as 4 p.m. According to observers,
yeah.
We've read reports where they said that some polling stations didn't see the INEC officials until about 5 p.m. in some instances. In fact, some didn't even conduct the elections. Some came to the polling units without the sensitive materials, without the beavers that would be needed to conduct that election.
Agreed.
Not far away, here in the nation's capital, right here in Lugbe, we heard about the story of how something happened and one of the ad hoc officials was beaten, in fact, to stupor. In fact, he died at the end of the day. And this is where you have thousands of people turning out, for votes.
And they all voted. What I'm saying, Mr. Ayuba, is this. When you look at 2023 election, I'm not an INEC advocate or whatever, but it's a serious improvement. Look at it. Beavers rejected Wike. Beavers rejected Lamy, the former Jigawa governor. These are the only two VIPs that we know. Compared to 2019. Compared to 2011. How many people did even the sitting president, Kadri, that rejected him. So technology-wise, there was improvement. You mentioned just Lugbe. Out of the 6 local government councils in Abuja, for instance. So what I'm saying is this. Whatever happened is an improvement. Maybe most of these NGOs were not there in 2019, we are not there in 2011, we are not there in 2007, we are not there in 2003.
All right, but there's while we're at it, there's still this thorny issue of uploading of the results onto the server. And I'm throwing my question to Mr. Okori, because even at this point, there are still party agents that are complaining about that. And we also got some calls this morning from people across the country talking about it. Do you think that we can move past this particular issue?
Yes. You see, it's unfortunate that INEC said a lot. They said too much. But when it comes to performing, they are not delivering. The assurance that they gave voters and they gave parties and even political party agents, they are not saying it. They gave us assurance about what the beavers and others will do, and the transmission of results from the polling units to the INEC portal. They gave all of us assurance. But in coming to deliver, if you ask me, I will tell you that they have failed in delivery on what they essence of bringing all those technology on board. If not for all that, why would Dino and the likes be charging at the national chairman at the National Collation Center if the needful was done? If you listened or watched Dino yesterday, he said he checked his Google, he used his Google engine to find out INEC national chairman assured Nigerians of the use of beaver and technology 68 times. Then the Festus Okoye man, over 100 times. And which of course I went to check as well, and I saw that it was true. But coming to deliver, if you ask me, they did not deliver as that. But the fact of the matter is that there was another option. Yes, the failure of delivering, sending to the porter does not invalidate the results on the spreadsheet. You understand?
Which means that is something we can move past.
Exactly. So that charge from Dino and the likes in that National Collation Center, if you ask me, was uncalled for. Because the result of what the national chairman had on the spreadsheet, the original sheet that was delivered or read out, was what transpired at the polling unit.
But what Dino and others are challenging and questioning is, how do you verify that what the INEC chair has is the same as what transpired at the polling unit?
They have agents.
The IRF was meant to check that.
Yes, but they have agents. All these political parties have agents at each polling unit. From the polling unit to the ward level, they also have agents. From the ward level to the local government collation center, they also have agents. At the state collation center, they also have agents. That's the way they have agents in the national collation center.
All right.
So they would have followed it like that to see the discrepancies, at each level where things went wrong against their political party.
All right.
Not only that, Dino has forgotten that he has PDP has a situation room. I'm not any partisan, but I received the article or Okoa something. Call this number if there is anything. They have been tracking this. I think I received that message 3 times between Saturday and Sunday. And this issue of charging or not charging, if like Mr. Ayuba, you ask somebody to send you money, to bring money here to this office. Then maybe he will say, okay, you should follow the JB Kubwa road. But he did not follow the JB Kubwa road. Maybe he followed the Buhari road. And when he brought the money, finally you started charging. Unless if already you have ambushed him, you wanted to snatch the money along the way. But if not, the money is here. For crying out loud. And again, I do insist, Mr. Ayuba, that we have forgotten yesterday. That's why, we are just, maybe the people talking now. In 2007, there was sending of election at the INEC station room. Online, you remember? Under the able leadership of Professor Morris Iwu. We got the 23rd state with all the political parties, only to realize it is from this office that they are calling us, that they are announcing results at the ICC. I said, no, this is the 22nd state that came in. Before you know it, the result we announced, the political party agents, we are there. We are confused.
All right.
So the issue is simple. Whatever it is, there is an improvement.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are still disappointed regardless. Perhaps maybe because of the high expectation or the fact that we've gone past this stage where we are seeing. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak. Nuruddin Abdullah, editor 21st Century Chronicle, and also Stephen Okori, also a public affairs analyst. Thank you for joining. We look forward to having you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll take a short breather. As a matter of fact, we've come to the end of the program. Well, stay tuned for more analysis on the presidential and National Assembly elections, even as collation of results continues. My name is Ayuba Ilya.
Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Stella Iyaji. Do have a pleasant day.